And I want to thank Senator Eugene Murphy for sharing this commencement matter with me. And it is a big issue because we had a meeting with the councillors, over 12 councillors in Roscommon Town, only a few days ago. It is just, it's frustrating. I mean, this is a service, a crucial amenity. I understand that the model has to be looked at. I understand that there's an impact from Brexit and from COVID, and that we're seeing an awful lot more in terms of e-commerce and online shopping and retail. But we need to maintain our on-post services, which is financial transactions, there's the money banking, but there's also paying bills, there's the normal over-the-counter services, and that needs to be maintained. And as Senator Murphy has said, in our county towns. I mean, is the GPO going to somehow be sourced out, like to a super value on O'Connell Street? Is that what the plan is? Because I'd love to see that. I already know that their corporate services have moved to the new EXO building at the end of the quays. But are they planning on moving everything out of the GPO? What are we going to do and where do we make a stand? I mean, is An Post going to streamline itself out of existence? Seriously, because there are 300 people, I think FTEs, full-time equivalents, in their last annual report that are no longer on the books. So they are looking at contracting out to our postmasters, who, do not get me wrong, do an excellent job. They do an excellent job because they're expanding the services, and I know there's many pros and cons around the postmasters in terms of co-location, in terms of reducing costs, the cost for heating, the cost for security, and in terms of expanding the service and accessible buildings. But this building is an iconic building. Since 1911, it's listed in the architectural inventory and the Heritage for Ireland. What happens to that building? Because there is a challenge when it is a listed building around anyone taking it on to actually develop it for a commercial entity or a commercial enterprise. Minister, I must admit, I feel that county towns should retain a direct on-post employee presence, and at the moment this does not appear to be the case.
Dolan, Minister, you have 4 minutes to respond.
Thank you to the senators for raising this issue. And yeah, look, it is a very pertinent issue and something I can relate to, certainly from being from County Mayo, and the importance of the post office in any town. So I do welcome the opportunity to outline the position on this matter today on behalf of Minister Ryan and Minister Chambers. An Post, as you know, is a commercial state company with a mandate to act commercially, and as such, day-to-day operation matters, including decisions in relation to the size, distribution and future of the network, are matters for the board and the management of the company, and not ones in which Minister Ryan or Minister Chambers has a statutory function. However, both ministers are both very aware of the impact that decisions relating to changes in An Post operations have on the communities and individuals in both rural and urban areas. The Department will engage with An Post to outline and highlight the concerns which have been risen by staff, customers and the wider community. As you've both outlined, this is an iconic building in Roscommon Town, and I do know how important it is to the people of Roscommon and the wider area. As you have both alluded to, in line with its ongoing transformation, An Post announced last week that it proposes converting 6 post offices from An Post run to contractor run, one of which is in the Roscommon Town office. Fewer than 40 post offices out of a total of over 900 across the state are now run directly by An Post. An Post has outlined that the changes in business models of the 6 offices will not in any way change the range or extent of the services offered by An Post in those selected locations. And the company remains committed to providing each area with the highest standard of services for the future. An Post has advised that staff employed at the post offices in question will have the options, including taking up employment as the new postmaster or being redeployed within the network. Government objectives for the An Post network include harnessing the opportunities presented by e-commerce and the digital economy, and delivering a sustainable nationwide post office network at the heart of communities, offering a range of e-commerce, financial and government services. The Government agreed that an amount of €10 million per annum will be provided by the Department of the Environment, Climate and Communications over a 3-year fixed term to support the postmasters, with funding to be dispersed across the post office network. The funding is being paid monthly for each 12-month period, and there has been over €9.7 million claimed by An Post for 2023 for the postmaster network. The programme for government recognises that a modernised post office network will provide a better range of financial services and e-commerce services for citizens and enterprise as part of its commitment to a sustainable nationwide post office network. The overall €30 million funding provided to support a sustainable nationwide post office network is in line with this commitment. And I believe, and I think that commitment is a valid one. I think it is good to modernise the post office system, but saying that, I do appreciate the concerns over this particular building and the moving out of the post office from it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair. Again, Minister, I know you're taking this on behalf of Minister Chambers, and I know that my colleague here, Senator Murphy, is going to be working with Minister Chambers and myself too in terms of, I've raised this in our own parliamentary party, I've raised it as well in terms of the Taoiseach's office. It is crucial that we look at what our long-term strategy is, because I know there's 10 million been allocated a year from An Post, but is that just for the postmasters? You know, what happens to the on-post services, direct employee services, and how do we maintain them, and what's the long-term strategy, and how do we make sure that it's going to be in a town centre on a main street? Because what provider is going to take on providing a service, having to pay extra for rent on the main street, when they could pay half the price about 4 or 5 miles out the road? You know, and what is An Post going to do about these listed buildings? How are they going to ensure that if someone does decide to take on this lease or this contract, that they're going to support them in terms of maintaining them in the same location or expanding the building, making sure that the building is fit for purpose for people in the town as well as for the employees as well? Minister, I just think there's more that needs to be done here and looked at. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Dolan. Before I just call the Minister, I was just not too sure. I don't see any statements circulated for this. Oh, sorry, they normally on that side. That's okay. No, so members can get them on when they go out. Okay, Minister, thank you very much, and you have a minute to reply, Minister. Thanks.
This is the second one if you want to take that one. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Minister. Oh yes, thank you. And look, again, I appreciate the concerns about this. I can't really speak to what the plans are for the particular building, but indeed it is, as you say, an iconic building in the town, has much connection with the community there, and it is important that whatever happens, that it remains central to the town and central facility for people in the town to use. I suppose what I have from An Post is that the services will remain the same wherever they are. There won't be any falling back on the services that are provided. I think that is important, because we have seen, certainly in my own area as well, towns and villages that have absolutely lost the service. So I think, but I will bring back the concerns in relation to the building, and see if there's any plans and that can be shared. But certainly, I think the concerns that are reflected here, I'll bring those back to both ministers. Thank you.